guys, Blue here. So I decided to take Prowl to SIG 100 this past week, really just for fun more than anything else, because I am now using him a fair amount. And I decided to test him in AMs this week. I have been using him in AMs primarily for lane 2.2, that ranged lane, primarily for that blaster fight, which is a very dangerous lane if you don't have a power controller. And so I had never used a SIG 100 Prowl before, and I actually did not really use him much in the old game. Windy was my main scout, so it's been fun using him. You know, I've been committed to using different bots in the new version, and I've actually been very happy with it because it's a big question in the game. You know, what's the ideal SIG level for Prowl? Should you max SIG him? Should you not max SIG him? And there are good arguments either way. It is true, though, for sure, that he does not need to be max SIG at all, okay? The only reason I did it, besides for fun, is the fact that in this new version, as we all know, we are getting a lot more SIGs than we used to. You do still need to be wise about how you allocate SIGs, because you have to spend resources on them through the Sunday mission and so forth if you want to get a lot of them. But you definitely have a golden opportunity now, regardless of the Sunday mission, to get a lot more SIGs than you used to. And so I've been giving them to bots with good SIGs that I also use a lot, and he's one of them. And so in AMs this week, he did very, very well. And that Dinobot fight was a great test for him, because if you fought Dinobot, you know that it's also a very dangerous fight if you don't have a power controller, and it actually can be even if you do, because he's on a 150% power flow mod, and it's not timed, it's on all attacks. He's also on a special damage mod, so he's going to get to a lot of specials very quickly. And so it was a great test for him. And I would say this, when it comes to Prowl, his ideal SIG level is not 100. I would not say that it is. However, he can still do wonderfully well at SIG 100, and I saw that, in AMs, and I'm sure I will see more of that the more fights I do with him. And the interesting thing is that you do have to adjust his play style a little bit when you do get up to very high SIG. Okay, at SIG 100, he's generating 4% power per melee buff, okay? So if you activate all 10 buffs, he's getting 40% power. That is a full power bar and then a little bit. On top of that, if you're using the Maximus synergy, you know that you're going to, at least at the start of the fight, you're starting it with 40% power. So if you charge up a lot of melee buffs on top of that, you're going to get to a special 2 very quickly. The Maximus synergy issue, though, really isn't an issue because that's only a one-time deal. You get that at the start of the fight, then it's over. So the main question is, does Prowl generate power too fast if he's at max SIG? And the answer really is no, but you do have to adjust how you play with him a little bit. I would say that the ideal SIG level for Prowl probably really is between SIG 50 and 70. Because once you get up to about 3% power per melee buff, which is what he gets at 50. So if you get, say, 3 to 3.5% power per melee buff, which is what he's going to get in the 50 to 70 range, you're golden. You don't need to go higher than that. But if you want to, there are a couple of advantages and disadvantages. So the main disadvantage is just that you have to be much more mindful of how you use your specials and how you charge up your buffs, especially if you're using him against, power generating bots or power flow mods, which is what Prowl was built for, right? So if you're doing 2.1 in AMs, 2.2, you fight Dinobot a lot, right? Bots that generate a lot of power, either themselves or through the mods, you got to be a little bit more careful, okay? So what that will mean is that you're sometimes doing partial combos when you launch specials. And it also means that you're not always charging up all your buffs. Now, here's an interesting thing. It's easy to forget that you often aren't going to be charging up all 10 buffs anyway, right? Because sometimes the opponent's going to attack you, in which case you'll sometimes evade, right? And when you evade, the charging of his melee buffs stops, right? That's a very important part of his kit, right? So, at rank 5, he has a 54% chance to automatically evade the next incoming attack which interrupts the charging of melee buffs. But even beyond that, even when you want, or even when you're free, let's say, to charge up all your buffs, right? The opponent is giving you space. Sometimes that means you're not going to charge up all of those buffs, and that's okay, right? Because remember, his melee damage goes up significantly. So if you need to just go up to 5 buffs and then attack, then that's what you do. And so if you take him up to Sig 100, the best thing to do is simply practice, because you'll get the hang of how much power he has and how much power he's going to get by charging up those buffs, right? So you just remember that with 10 melee buffs, he's going to generate 40% power. With 5 melee buffs, he's going to generate 20% power. So if you've already got a little bit of power, right, you charge up, say, 5 or so melee buffs, then you're going to get to a special one, then you can use the special one. The other thing is you have a very nice safety net if he's at Sig 100 and you can't use the special one, because sometimes you won't be able to. Sometimes you'll get to a special 2 too quickly. But this is actually a real advantage to him at Sig 100. There's 2 things. If you're not able to use a special 1, well, then your first choice is just to wait to do a special 3. Because if the first charging of melee buffs puts you up to a special 2, then all you have to do is dash back again, and you're going to get to a special 3 very quickly. That's exactly what happened in this Dinobot fight that I did right at the start. I couldn't land the special 1, so I just held off and did the special 3. And the special 3 is also fantastic for power control because it power locks for 16 seconds. It's a very long power lock. So you can either do that, or you can just use the special 2, and then dash back, and then you'll get a special 1 again really quickly. So the advantage to him being at Sig 100 that I don't hear many people say is he does get lots and lots of specials. And so if you're good at using him and you've practiced with him, you can still do plenty of special 1s. And even in the occasions when you can't, you'll be able to get to a special 1 or a special 3 super quickly anyway, right? So if you want to take him to high Sig, by all means do so. If you use him a lot and you just want that challenge and you want that benefit as well, go ahead. But you don't have to, right? So if you use Prowl a lot, by all means, of course, you have to awaken him. It's such a great Sig. Take him up to mid-level and then maybe play around with him for a bit. That's what I would suggest. Take him up to Sig 50, Sig 60, play with him. If you're really comfortable there, because that is really all you need, leave it alone. If you want to push it higher and just see what it's like, and you feel confident that you can get the hang of it, go up to Sig 100, right? Just remember, you are going to have to adjust your playstyle a little bit, but it's very doable, right? And I'm doing fairly high-level AMs. I do power flow bots and mods often, and I haven't had a problem. You just have to be very aware of his power at all times, and if you are, you can actually get a lot of use out of a max Sig Prowl. Okay? So I hope all of you are well. I will leave it there for now, and we will be in touch again soon. Take care.